Buckle yourself in, Virgo, because we're going on a rocket launch where you are lifting off into your happiness, into your success, and into a place where you can finally wave goodbye to Snoresville and say, I've charted a new course. I am going to my happy place. I am going to my place of success. That is my new destination. That is where, checking the fuel, I have been completely topped up, and I now know where I'm going. I'm going into a future of love, of luck, and of really, really big happiness. So and that is going on as the first card hops out like that. This card, the very first one, suggesting that it's about time you're rocket launched away from feeling like that you were the rags story, always waiting on the riches ending to this tale. Well, that's where it happens. This is where it begins. We're going to lay that card down there, Virgo, and we're going to wait for all the other ones to come out. But this is such an exciting, big time for you. A big time. Why? Because there's so much energy this month in your fifth house. We know that over the last period, it might have felt for the longest while like happiness was hard to come by. Love, even in some cases, was made complicated, difficult. It just didn't flow very easy. Your luck, your success, the things that you were creating, it just all seemed to be like a rocket where the legs of the rocket were stuck in the mud and you just couldn't launch. You couldn't lift off. And what's happening now this month is that we're beginning. You can radio down to Houston and say, Houston, finally I'm happy to announce that we have liftoff, and you are lifting off into this new, happier place, more successful place, more creative place, and where things get a whole lot easier, Virgo. And you're saying, well, thank God for that, because it has been difficult, it has been weird. And I have been living in Snoresville for a while. I've been looking around my environment, looking around at my life in general, and being very underwhelmed by it, bored by it, maybe even inspired by it. And I didn't want to have to get all critical and blame the people around me. I don't think it was their fault. There was a real moment where I had to realize this is coming from me. If the world outside of me isn't entertaining me, then maybe it's not their job to entertain me. Maybe what Saturn, Pluto, and all the energy there has been asking me to do is find a way to entertain myself, find a way to fill in the gap where love was missing. So love myself, where I was kind of a bit lackluster and uninspired creatively. Maybe I should be inspiring myself, not looking and waiting for other people to inspire me. I'm going to do it. I'm going to fill in that kind of heart-shaped hole gap here with what I'm bringing to my world, what I'm bringing to my relationships, what I'm bringing to what I'm creating, what I'm bringing to my life. And while it did feel for the longest time that I couldn't take off, where I couldn't feel motivated, inspired, or where I couldn't generate that self-love feeling in some cases, now I'm going to do it. Now I'm ready. I am absolutely 100% ready. Ready for what? Ready for success. Ready for success. Virgo, I'm going to keep pulling here the cards. I'm waiting on all the right ones as usual to come out. I'm just going to focus on what is changing for you. It's almost like you've changed on such a fundamental level. Your tastes have changed. Maybe your decor tastes, the books that you used to read, your favorite movies. There's a feeling of, over the last period of time, nothing was giving you life. So you had to try new things. You had to find new authors, find new movies to look at, find new places to live, maybe find new relationships. Or if you're in a relationship, find new ways to handle this relationship or bring your love to this relationship. There definitely was that feeling of nothing came easy. Nothing came easy. And everything that I've accumulated, and like my kind of fuel tanks here that I've reloaded myself with and topped myself up with, are the things that I've discovered. there's a feeling here of I've discovered a lot about myself, and I've discovered a lot about how I interact with other people. I feel for many of you there was this thing of always waiting for other people, maybe lovers, partners, to love you or to inspire you or to tell you what movies to watch or to tell you what to create or how to bring up your children or how to behave within a relationship or what you should be doing. And there's a feeling of that totally turning around now where you're saying, what? Why did I wait for other people to bring me happiness? Why did I wait for somebody to bring me my dream job? Why did I wait for somebody to bring me my dream relationship? Why did I wait for my partner to change? Why did I wait? What was I waiting for? And there was a long period, Virgo, where I felt that period of, well, if they can't bring me happiness, if this work can't bring me happiness, if these things I used to love doing don't bring me happiness anymore, then what's the point? There isn't any happiness. And I get the feeling for many of you there was a kind of unhappiness, maybe a long phase of feeling like I don't know where I get my happiness from anymore. I don't know where I get love from anymore. I don't know where I can get creative inspiration from anymore. And yet, you seem to have dug deep, Virgo. And this is what's transforming. Now you're saying, I'm coming out of that with a whole new personality, with a whole new story to tell, with a whole new way of loving, with a whole new way of existing in my life and experiencing it and laughing with it and being involved with it on a heart level. There's that feeling here too, Virgo, where you may have felt very criticized by other people because you were very uninspired by what was going on around you for the longest period. People might have said to you, you know what, Virgo, you've changed. You've become a little bit dull. You've become a little bit boring. And the answer really now is, I'm sorry, my love. I didn't become boring. I just stopped pretending that you weren't boring. That's all that happened. I stopped pretending that you weren't boring. You weren't entertaining me. For the longest time, I thought that was my fault. Nah, it turns out that I was growing. It turns out that I don't have a sense of humor about that anymore because I don't find it funny. I find this shit funny now. I don't get involved in all of these games and this and that. Why? Because they're not entertaining me anymore. I don't get a buzz out of them. But I find this entertaining now. I find this style more interesting now. Even, it's all very small details, Virgo. It's all like you used to have a favourite colour. Say my favourite colour was yellow and now it's green. It's a series of, I used to like this pizza when I ordered it, but now I find that I don't like that anymore. I'm ordering this. It's a series of small details, small changes that have happened in what you desire. I don't like that anymore. That doesn't make me laugh anymore. This food, it's a bit bland. This relationship, maybe even in some cases, don't panic cross watchers, it's not all cases. This relationship, doesn't give me anything anymore. I have a whole new taste for life. I have a whole new way to express my personality. And if other people say, you're not playing along, Virgo, say, yeah, I'm not playing along because I've grown out of this game. I'm looking for a new place to play. I'm looking for new adventures. When all adventures seem to have been blocked, I was forced to find new ways to make myself happy, and I've done it. And I'm more confident with that. Tuning in here, Virgo, I get the sense for some of you. Now, please, cross-watchers, don't panic. You will know if this is happening for you. For a lot of you, Virgo, I feel there was a great big change happening in relationships in general. Now, for the better, maybe you and your partner have really evolved where you're not waiting on them to love you. You're saying, well, here's how I want you to love me. Here's what I find fun. Here's what I would like you to do. Here's how you can romance me. Here's how you can kind of entertain me in some way. and be loving with me in some way. So you're being more proactive about it, and that will definitely help a good, solid relationship to grow. But in some cases, Virgo, there's a feeling of, I'm sorry, but I can't put up with your bullshit anymore. And I think many of you have made a transition out of one relationship and into another. And for some of you, not all of you, that might be quite a kind of it might melt your brain a little bit. I love this person. How do I tell them they're not making me happy anymore? And I actually see somebody here on my horizon who is making me happy. And that's an awful place for you to be in, Virgo, because you want it to be clean. You don't want to hurt one person, but you definitely, for some of you, not all of you, see something better on the horizon there. So it's a big transition moment that's going to be happening, and it's going to be playing out all through 2020, where you definitely don't want to be in relationships with people who, it's almost like they're taking from you, always taking. Always, oh, well, Virgo will do it for me. Virgo will run around after me. Virgo will put up with my shit. Virgo will laugh when I tell stupid jokes. Virgo will find my weird, odd sense of boringness entertaining. And you're like, no. Newsflash. I actually don't have to put up with this anymore. I don't have to serve your bullshit anymore. I don't have to pretend like I can play along with this very, very old and tired shit anymore. I am definitely growing, and I'm running with that. And I'm beginning to learn from this month onwards that I don't have to necessarily feel guilty about severing ties with people who have definitely overstepped the mark a little bit with your patience. Overstepped the mark, forced you to endure their bad behavior. It's like, I don't have to do that anymore. It's almost, I feel like the breaking of a contract between you and somebody who you felt guilty about saying, listen, we can't do this anymore. So that seems to be happening. And that's all a good thing, Virgo, if you can let go of the guilt around dropping some of the dead weight. Now, does it have to be relationships? It could be friendships, co-workers, or people just hanging around in your life. There's a feeling of, I just don't have to have that around my neck anymore, hanging like a stone. And I don't have to feel guilty about letting it go, because I'm in this rocket. I am launching into success. I kind of need to keep things light here. I need to keep things moving. I don't need any extra baggage because the lighter I am, the further I will travel. And that's key. The lighter you are, the further you will travel. The lighter you are in your heart, the further you will travel. The lighter you are with your creativity, the further it will travel into success. The lighter you are with, like having that bubbly feeling about life again. This makes me laugh. This makes me feel good. This is new. This is fresh. This is entertaining. That's light. And as I said, the lighter you are, the further you'll go. So it's beautiful, Virgo. I really am so happy for you. I'm just waiting on 4 more cards. I'm really so happy for you because I think it's been very tough. I think there were real moments where you almost started to believe people when they said, you've become very dull, or you've become very boring, or why do you like that comedy show? It's not funny. You've changed. Well, yes. And I don't feel guilty about that anymore. I've changed. I have changed. But I've changed for the better. As all the cards we need come out here, Virgo. Now, there's a few cards coming out here that I see are quite tricky and quite weird. For me, I feel December, as it all kicks off, is a month where what I feel is like that weirdness within the transition, that real moment of, there are things I've got to cut out of my life. There are things I've got to accept about the new me. And if other people aren't accepting the new me, then I've really got to say sayonara to them. I've really got to do it. But I feel, even just looking down at the spread, which I'll show you in a moment, it's that feeling of I can taste the success. I know that I've evolved and I've grown. I know it's coming. I know 2020 is going to be amazing for me. I know it. But here's the tricky part, where I start severing, where I start cutting, and where I start really chopping out. And it's not going to be pleasant, Virgo, but it seems that this is really part of what you need to do. It's really part of it. You're being asked to do that. If you're taking your new life seriously, your new success, your happiness, your new look that's going to open out seriously, then also take seriously what you're leaving behind. And treat your new journey with so much reverence and respect that you don't take negative people or situations with you, you know, or people who are bringing you down, or situations that are bringing you down. If they're not bringing you lightness, love, happiness, they're bringing you down. And what good is a rocket to the stars if it's been weighed down? Okay, so my love, there's so much going on here this month. So without any further ado, let's go over to your big grand, ta-da, overview. So we open up here, Virgo, with that feeling of why have I come to this point in my life where I feel that I'm outside of my life in some way, where I'm on the outside looking in at my relationship, I'm on the outside looking in at my work. It's like I'm on the outside and the good stuff is all happening out there. And I think, as we were talking about, that's what you've had to endure for so long. I'm like the odd one out. The one, that one piece of the jigsaw that's not fitting anywhere. Everybody else is laughing, everybody else is smiling, everybody else finds this shit funny, everyone else is playing the game. What's wrong with me that I can't play the game? Why am I the odd one out? Well, you're the odd one out because because you don't fit in certain places anymore. You don't fit in certain friendships, work obligations, maybe even in some cases old relationships anymore. You just don't fit. And again, it's that thing of you have to stop feeling weird about why don't I fit there, and start saying, well, thank God I don't fit there. I've moved, I've changed, I've grown. I've new places to go. And speaking of new places to go, this is a month, I feel, Virgo, for many of you, of wanting to take little journeys, not very far off journeys, journeys that are closer to home. Say if you usually planned a vacation and that was miles away, or far and far and far, and you're saying, I don't want to do that anymore. I want to stay nearer to home, but I want to experience something new nearer to home. So there's a lot of that going on. I want to get to know my environment a bit better. And then I want to feel comfortable in that. So there's something about putting the tentacles out and getting to know your environment like all over again. But this time with a better sense of discernment. Do I actually like that person? Do I actually work well with that person? Is the work or the stuff I'm creating, is that actually good enough for the market out there? So there's a feeling of testing ground this month to try to bridge the gap from feeling you're definitely an outsider with the old stuff, and that's good. But now it's the feeling of I'm going to dabble, I'm going to try and put my little feelers out to see how I can latch on a little bit to the more successful new stuff that's opening up for me. For the singles, new relationships. And I'm really going to go with this for the it's complicated situations that some of you might have going on. It's not complicated, it's simple. What you're doing this month is removing the it's complicated. There's a reason it's complicated. Stop making your life complicated and start putting again those little feelers out and saying, I need to be putting more focus into the it's not complicated at all, it's love kind of relationships. So there's that thing. Now I will say this, for some of you money might have been an issue. feeling like you had to work to get all the things that you need. I feel a lot of you have taken a bit of a change with your money too in some way. It's almost like you used to use money in a totally different way. Now you've been using your money differently. I get this weird thing of you were never one usually to buy real luxury things. You like your luxury, of course, you like to have the best things, but there was an emphasis recently on wanting more of the good stuff. And you scratching your head a little bit and saying, how do I get more of the good stuff? I like my car. At this point in my life, I should have a better car. I like the clothes that I wear. I have a good wardrobe, the whole thing. But at this stage in my life, I should have more high quality things. There's a feeling of, I want the money to surround my life with something more looks, more luxurious, better quality. That's what I'm feeling here too. So what seems to be happening here, Virgo, is as you're entering into this new heart space, you're saying, but my heart wants the pleasures of this life. That includes the luxuries of this life. Not just a random bottle of wine that I've picked off the supermarket shelf, but I want a good bottle of wine, and I'll pay a few extra coin for it, or whatever. I'm just saying wine, but something like that. It's I want to have that type of coin where I can live a kind of luxurious life. Now, does it mean a house on the hills with that? It doesn't have to be as big as that. It can be, but it's more like this feeling, Virgo, of I deserve to be living a richer life in all aspects of my life, because it's the heart energy exploding here this month. I want the best of the best. Why shouldn't I have it? Why should I be counting my pennies? Why should I feel like life is just pay a bill, pay that, pay a fine, pay? Why should I do that? I've got to play more. So that's another reason why you're feeling like, I don't want that old life anymore, but I can't quite let go of it yet. I want this new, the best of the best of the best of everything life, however that relates to you. It could just be the best food, the finest food, maybe not lots of it, but just the best quality. It will mean something in different ways to different people. But for me, it's just that strong feeling, Virgo, of it's quality from now on, bitches. That's kind of like, and you know that's where you're bringing your success, or where you're getting your success. There's a feeling, I feel like a penny dropping for some of you here, of if I live small, I'll stay small. If I start thinking big, thinking more, like my life can be more, I can earn more money, I can do something creative that I have an absolute passion for, that will bring in coin, that's so big for you right now and for all of 2020. I can get a huge success maybe bringing in coin from doing something that's a natural talent for me, that it's just so easy. It's easy for me to do this. When I think of it, I think, oh, that old thing, will people actually pay for that? Yes, they will. They will, and they'll love it. So there's a feeling of, I'm not undervaluing my skills anymore. I'm not undervaluing my talents anymore. I'm not undervaluing my life anymore. I am never again going to watch my bank balance fall. I've too much to give, and I deserve to be in a better position. And that's where, you say, everything is so big with you this month, Virgo. That's where the success comes. That's where the success comes. I feel like getting into new frames of mind with your finances, saying, I deserve better. And it seems to have like a knock-on effect. When you treat yourself better, when you allow luxuries, no matter how small they are, Virgo, for now, when you allow luxury to come into your life, it gets bigger. It catches like a fire. And brings you success. With this card, there's a feeling of, I've got to get out of debt. Some of you really now, Venus will be moving into Aquarius on December 20th. There's a feeling of coming up to the holiday season. You know what? I'm not doing this shit again. I'm not getting myself into debt anymore. I'm taking it more seriously. I want a success with my finances, and I think you'll get it. But Virgo, there are things getting in the way. One of the big things getting in the way is not allowing yourself enough time to stop and think and process what's changing for you right now in your heart space, in this whole evolution of I'm doing everything from the heart. I want the best of the best. Give yourself time to stop and process your desires, your needs. What do you love now? What do you laugh at now? Who do you love now? And take it really seriously. And don't allow yourself to fall or to get all confused because the half of your brain is still in the old mindset of watching the pennies, getting into debt maybe, or worrying about money. And the new mindset is saying, but I'm ready. I'm ready to go on this mission to have a life of purpose. I'm ready to travel. I'm ready to find my sense of inner home. I'm ready to level up. So what's needed here very early on in the month, Virgo, is a feeling of stop ignoring and start meditating a little bit. Start giving yourself quiet time where you're on your own, not dealing with work, dealing with other people, running around like a headless chicken. Just give yourself time alone and just say, well, how have I changed? And kind of just to acknowledge how you've changed, because then it'll be easier to get into behaving that way and behaving like somebody who has these new tastes for life, new tastes for love, new tastes for expressing myself in a passionate way. I should just get into a zone where I allow myself understand how to get into the rhythm of that. And that's a big gift for you to do that, Virgo. It's a gift to yourself. Now, what I will say here, Virgo, is something can't be ignored or avoided any longer. It really can't. There's a conversation that needs to be had. Mars in the third house, Mercury's in there for a while too, your ruler. A conversation just really needs to be had, a deep conversation to talk about that thing that you were afraid to talk about before. Maybe you're unhappy with somebody or some situation and you've been keeping yourself so busy that you just didn't want to have to address it or talk about it. You've been like an ostrich with your head in the sand. It's time to talk. I feel for some of you, we said this already, but there's a transition from one relationship into another. It's like you and an ex, you may have split up. It may have been done, but there's still like a codependency, or there's still like, even though we said we've split up, we're still pretending like it's not happening. Or for some of you, head in the sand energy. It's time to have that conversation. It really is. I feel there could be some arguments triggered this month with other people too, brothers, sisters, maybe even neighbors, acquaintances. There's a feeling of people are getting on your nerves and maybe even provoking you into a response. But Virgo, you don't have to get all inflamed and ignited. When you're clear about the situation, nobody can trigger you. Nobody can say, what are you doing with your life? I thought you were finished with that person. What are you doing hanging out with them still? There's a feeling of confusion. I have to say that, Virgo, with something in this transition period. And I feel that you've just got to have a conversation, make something really clear, say it's not complicated, it's as simple as this. I'm not in that relationship with that ex anymore. It's finished. We've had the talk. I'm not half working in this office and half working in that office or helping this person. It's straightforward and everybody can see. Everybody will know. I've explained everything clearly to everybody, and now I'm just on a mission to continue doing the thing I love. Virgo, I feel also here for some of you that there's a person who seems to blindside you. They seem to have the ability to convince you to love them. I know that sounds very strange. It's like a relationship that has ended. It doesn't have to be a love relationship. It could be a friendship or something else, a work. It's like it's finished, but yet they always seem to be able to guilt trip me into helping them or feeling somewhat responsible for them, feeling like I'd feel bad in my heart if I didn't do X, Y, and Z. That needs to stop. No more letting somebody guilt trip you. There's something that annoys me. If you identify with this and this person, whoever it is, friend, family, ex, whoever it is, there's something that annoys me about this person because they've seemed to found that magic button with you, that they pretend that they're helpless. They pretend that they need your help. They pretend that they're forever lost without you, that you're the only one that can ever help them or save them in some way. And yet, when you listen to your heart, you're saying, but that's not true. We actually don't have that connection. So why do I run around after them? Why? They're using me. Are they using me? They're using me. They are using me. So I think it's time for many of you to take your head out of the sand a little bit and look at a certain situation in your life where somebody is treating you like Superman or Superwoman, that they're just always calling you. There's a real point where you have to say, you've got to leave me alone. You've got to be an adult and take care of yourself. You've got to do this on your own. You've got to stop depending on me because I feel guilty if I don't run to you if you need help. But it's not fair on me to keep asking me to do that. So there's that, okay? Now, this is a Virgo card and we've the moon beside it. Virgo, I think that there's something happening within your workspace this month, or with the work that you do, or a hobby that you have, or what you're creating. I feel there's going to be a kind of a moment of revelation, where you kind of say to yourself, something is off. Something is off with your work or what you're creating. And what's off for me feels to me like a disconnect. You're not finding pleasure in what you're doing or the work that you're doing. It's like if you had a real passion for playing the piano, for example, and you love it, but yet every time you sit down in front of the piano, you're like, this doesn't feel like music to me. It doesn't feel like anything to me. I hate sitting down in front of the piano because there's no music coming from it. Only as an example, you know what I mean? And there's this feeling this month of having a real moment where you have to be honest with yourself and say, where is the emotional disconnect? This is moon, we've full moon in Gemini in the 10th house this month. Which is all to do with your work, your career, how you present yourself out into the world, your reputation, how other people perceive you on a grander scale. And there's a feeling of, I'm not showing my finest, I'm not showing my best. I'm disconnected from what I'm doing. And yet, if I was able to plug in, I would give it magic. I would bring something deep and meaningful and magic to it. And here's what I feel mid-month is happening for you, Virgo, is a real plug-in again to your connection to the things that are making you happy, particularly when it comes to your hobbies, your things you're creating, and to your work life and career life in general. For some of you, there could be a really weird moment in work around the time of the full moon, which is December 12th, where there's a little bit of disrespect. That's what I feel, Virgo. You feel disrespected. You feel they're just happy to take from me and they don't give a shit. They don't give a shit. They don't value me. something has to give here. Something has to end. I feel many of you around the time of the full moon are ending. You're saying after Christmas, after the holiday season, after the new year, when January begins, I'm starting something new. Maybe I'm going to work for myself, work from home. I'm starting on maybe creating a side business, actually selling that skill and talent that I have. When 2020 comes, I am no longer going to be stuck. And the catalyst for change, I feel, Virgo, is the disrespect that you might see around the time of the full moon. You're giving and giving and giving, and people are just like, oh, well, that's what Virgo does. Yeah, keep bringing it. Keep bringing it. We don't value it. You just, all we know is that you keep bringing it. That's your job. You just keep bringing it. And you'll just have a moment of saying, well, that's a load of bullshit. I'm not going to do that anymore. It's these takers who have killed the music in my soul, who've killed the passion in my soul, who I feel now very disconnected to. I'm really re-plugging in to my passions. And I'm going to start 2020 only following that. It won't be silenced anymore. It won't be suppressed anymore. If it makes me happy, then I'm going to do it. Again, this feeling, Virgo, I said before we sat down to the cards, this thing of it's going to be a bit tricky because you're going to have to cut people that you feel very trapped by. For me, this person or situation, person or people, there's a strong influence of the air signs, Sun, Moon or Ascendant, Libra, Aquarius or Gemini. There's a feeling of they're taking advantage of you in some way, or they're not allowing you to grow. That's probably more like it. They're probably the ones saying, what are you doing? What's wrong with you? Why are you behaving differently? Why are you acting differently? Who are you? And that's that feeling of, I'm somebody new. I'm somebody new who maybe doesn't have to put up with you anymore. So I get this thing of, I'm not going to be trapped. I'm not going to be trapped by painful situations anymore. And I'm not going to be trapped by other people. Almost this weird feeling, Virgo, almost like other people telling you what you should do all the time. Other people telling you what course of action to take in your life. It's like it's out of your hands. Somebody else is always running the show. They know better. They know where you should eat. They know when you should eat. They know what vacation you should go on, what job you should choose, what career path. They know when they look at what you're creating, they know and they say, I don't like this. And there's a feeling of you have been listening to them. To me, it's almost like there's a person or people who you've allowed into your life who don't get it. But yet you listen to them when they negatively judge something about your life. So you're creating, again, just go back to the musical theme, you create and write a piece of music. And it's wonderful and you feel it and it's great and you're saying, this is my new flow, this is my new rhythm, I'm feeling this is where the next step is for me. And then there is somebody that's saying, I don't like that. I don't like that. That doesn't sound like you. That doesn't sound like your other stuff. I liked your other stuff. It's there. Oh no, I don't. But you're saying, but there's heart and passion and love in it, and I'm creating something new, and it feels like there's a bit of buzz about it. It feels like I'm going somewhere, and they're like, would you not just stick to the old way? It's like they've no vision, but they don't like when you have a new vision. Now this absolutely has to stop. It feels to me like there's a small-minded, petty person in your life who is a small thinker. Very, very, very small thinker. And I think part of the difficulty this month is that one way or another, you have to be able to separate yourself from their influence. Now, if they're family or a lover or a friend, does it mean you have to get rid of them? No. What it means is that you have to be able to stand up in front of them when they say, I don't like that, that's not you, or this is, what are you creating? What's your decision about your work? What are you doing? No, try the old way. You have to be able to stand up in front of them and laugh and just say, that's your fear talking. That's your lack of vision talking. That's your inability to grasp the new energy speaking. You just get on with your business. I'm going to get on with mine. I know where I'm going. And maybe later you'll figure out where I'm at. Maybe you'll get it later. You're not getting it now. You'll get it though. But I'm not giving up on what I'm doing. I'm not giving up my dream. It's up to you to catch up with me, not for me to kind of hunker down and get all slumped with you. So that's very strong. So we've the King of Swords, and now we've the Queen of Swords. Again, that feeling of a lot of tension in your mind. I have to say that, Virgo, that you're trying to work out with the energy of Aquarius. Is there an Aquarius in your life? Sun, Moon, or Ascendant Aquarius, or any of the air signs? It's this somebody who seems to have the ability to talk you in or out of something. Whatever they say, you seem to, will I say respect it? But more like you go with it. You go by what they say. Now, Virgo, that's not you. You're a strong character, an earth sign. You've your own abundance. You rule the harvest. You know when a good thing is happening. You know and spot a mile away where something will turn into an abundant harvest. This person doesn't have that ability. And yet, they have a huge level of impact over your direction. They may not be air, but there's a strong feeling of what they think or what they say goes, or at least it has done up until now. I think you're going to have to challenge this person. You're going to have to challenge them. And it could get quite intense. Usually I would say, but keep cool, keep calm, don't lose your shit. I feel the opposite with you, Virgo. I feel a kind of a real determined looking somebody straight in the eye and saying, I'm not backing down, is kind of needed here. Somebody is picking at you. I feel it. And this is a real moment where you stand up and assert yourself and say, your way is not my way anymore. And it's as simple as that. And it's not complicated. I'm not going to have one foot in your way and one foot in my way. I'm not going to kind of play your game a little bit, but also secretly be playing my game. It's going to be upfront. No, I don't agree with you. No, I'm not doing it that way. No, you don't have vision. It's not going to stop me from doing my thing. It's a real case of this is clear now. And I think it frightens you, but it frightens them more. It scares you to have that level of, I mean business, I draw a line. This is the new code now. I don't know why it scares you. It's not something that would usually scare you, but this person has that ability, I feel. But it will really knock this other person, where they have to be told that they can't have such an impact on your decisions. I feel there's somebody in your life very critical, Virgo. Now, very often people say Virgo is the critical one. In this case, for me, it's somebody else who's critical of you. You can't do anything right by them in some cases. You can never please them. There's no end to what they need from you, and there's no end to them trying to control you or corral you into their way of thinking. Virgo, 2020 is coming. Be clear. It's not complicated. Now we have the last two cards coming out here. Yeah, everything we said, you standing up for yourself and not allowing yourself to lose sleep over the direction of your life anymore, because your direction is going into the stratosphere and beyond, infinity and beyond. So it's time for you to take a stand now for 2020 and begin to do your own thing and stop losing sleep about the what ifs, what's wrong with me that I can't accept the status quo anymore. You're becoming more creative. That's what's happening for you, my love. Stand up, take a stand and start asserting where you're going now. Because where you're going is into your success. Virgo, that was intense. I know a lot of big kind of challenges have to come your way in order for you to assert yourself this month. But do it, my love. Do it, because as I said at the beginning, the lighter you are, the further you will go. The less complicated it is, the more space there is for something new and fresh to breathe in your life. And breathe it in. Breathe it in. Virgo, my love, I'm going to leave it at that. And as you know, these are just the general energies. To get into the nitty gritty, which I feel there's a lot of nitty gritty details going on for you with your relationships, with your love life for the singles, for money and career. That's also changing this month. Family, home, friends, anything we didn't touch upon here, Virgo, we go right into it in the deep read, the VIMEO readings. In the description box down there below, you'll see a link. Click into it and come on over, because we'll open everything right out in a more focused way and figure out what the heck is going on. So until then, my love, I'm going to leave you and your rocket ship getting ready to launch for the stars. 2020 is going to be amazing for you, but it's beginning this month. So with all that said and done, my beautiful, I'm going to leave you as always with all my love and a great, great, great big kiss from me to you. Mwah. Until next month, my beauty. Bye.